Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia.
And Jaime and Fuego here, and guess what day it is? It is April 26th, as in LV 426, which is the big 30th anniversary celebration of the Aliens property. 20th Century Fox has new films coming, Alien Covenant, the Ridley Scott, lots of righteous new comics from Dark Horse, and so, yeah, we decided to go through all four of the original films on this special day.
Yep.
And coverage of the first one coming at you.
Absolutely. So let's get into it, you guys. This one was interesting for us because Fuego and I had both seen it. Mm-hmm. Marcia had not ever seen the first Alien before. So, of course, directed by the award-winning director Ridley Scott, starring John Hurt and
Tom Skerritt, Sigourney Weaver,
of course.
Harry Dean Stanton.
Yep. A very good lineup, honestly. And this one was the classic, the origin of the species, as it were. And of course, most of you have probably seen it, so you could consider this a retro review. So let's get into it. This, of course, is the classic story of the Nostromo, a space ore mining operation. And they are basically out and about, and they get a distress call, right? That they are forced to intercept before they're able to return home. And when they go, they stumble across the crash site of what we now know of as the derelict, which was a giant horseshoe.
More or less, the design is resemblant to that.
Exactly.
Ominous looking, though.
Ominous looking, indeed. And it was investigated by a few of the crew of the Nostromo, including John Hurt, who unfortunately got a little too up close and personal with a field of eggs that they find. And what happens from there, Marcia?
Well, while he's investigating these eggs, notice a little bit of movement in one of the little pods. Before he knows it, his face is getting sucked on by this little
They're called face huggers.
Face huggers, It looks like a
crustacean?
Yeah, crusty crustacean, yeah.
It's like a snaky vagina jumping.
Yeah,
I don't
vagina.
know.
Very
I guess
frightening.
In the front, when you finally see it.
Sucker. Yeah.
Although it's a
Kinda
vagina
scary.
with a little tube that
Kind
comes
of reminds
out
me
of
of
it.
like a
This is a weird way to continue
with...
describing it.
Indeed, guys. I'm sorry for the tangent.
But hey, it's the first time she's seen it, and if that's what it evoked in her mind, who are we to say it?
But it was a really cool scene. I jumped because I wasn't expecting it. Oh, I was, but I wasn't expecting it.
Okay. And then, of course, that leads to the fact that the crew has to bring him back aboard the ship, and they first try and remove the alien.
Won't come off.
With very little success, and not only that, but they almost burn a hole through the hull of the ship.
Yep, because they find out what is coursing through its veins, you know. It's like
in every of the
acidic.
xenomorph species'
Yeah,
veins.
all of them.
Yeah.
Acid. So they basically leave John Hurt's character alone, and a little bit later, the thing has apparently removed itself.
Seemingly dead as well.
Exactly, yeah. They go into the room, and it just sort of falls on Ripley. And everything seems right in the world. They're like, whew, close call, you know.
Fingers firmly crossed, though, because...
Well, they're about to go home. They're about to get in cryo sleep and fly all the way home, but they decide to have one last meal. Of course, it turns out to be a very eventful meal, which is spoofed in movies for years thereafter.
Hello, my baby.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl. Spaceballs, guys. Of course, if you don't know.
For the uninitiated.
But I'm sure one or more of the Scary movies has probably spoofed it at some point or another.
Possibly.
I mean, it just seems like something that the well has gone back to because it's a classic scene where John Hurt,
iconic, in fact.
Iconic, exactly, has these convulsions and falls onto the breakfast table, and he has an alien burst from his chest, thus beginning not only a franchise but a pretty classic horror movie that unfortunately, in pop culture, that this guy feels is a little bit slow, which we'll get to. But I don't think there needs to be much said beyond that, except for the alien is out and about, and it starts picking off the crew, and it's a game of survival. So, Marcia, I'm dying to know, what did you think the first time through on the original Alien? Because as far as you knew, you had only seen parts of the second movie before.
The only thing I remember apart from the second movie, and I'm not even quite sure if I even finished it. So this was my first time actually sit down and watching the whole saga, and I really enjoyed it actually. Yeah, it was a little slow, but that's what kind of kept me a little intrigued because it's the beginning of a story. It's definitely the beginning of Ripley's story arc. And so they really spent some time letting us get to know the creature and her, so we care about her journey as we continue to watch. So
Absolutely. Did you feel the peril for the other people? Were the scares genuine, or were they dated?
no, I still really thought all the effects held up after all this time.
The
Like,
creature suit effects?
1979,
yeah,
by the way.
like
Yeah.
I love the creature. The alien is amazing, and you know it's really sad because as time went on, and I don't want to get into any of the other movies, but as time goes on, I feel like this had better effects than a couple of them that I saw. So.
That's fair. That can be said for sure, and a lot
Practical
of people would agree.
versus, digital, and that whole argument.
Well,
so.
that's true. Yeah, the alien, because digital effects weren't quite there in the later installments. I don't think.
But I feel like it has a different effect on you because it feels more real with the practical effects than the big
completely.
creature.
the organic aspect of it. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I really enjoyed it. It's not the second one. Everybody knows the second one is really good. But I feel like it holds its own in its own right.
Yeah. So the acting was good for you in this
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Fuego, classic for you, acting.
It's solid from top to bottom. I think there's some very one-note characters in this. That's one of the only things that I argue.
They don't have a lot to
Compare
do.
this to the second movie. I feel like the Marines are more well-developed characters instead of one-note. In this one, people, there's not much that happens. I still enjoy it. It's iconic for the character it created and in all of its villainy.
It's so slow moving. It does, yes, it is classic. It does start an entire movement within the fictional world, for sure. But it doesn't, in my opinion, completely erase the fact that it's a very drawn out, some would say methodical movie. It's plotting, but there's, and this is going to tie into the point I'm going to make at the end, but there's a lot of corridors in this movie. There's
And
a lot of
movement
slow
down.
movements,
A lot of buttons.
a lot of space shots, a lot of buttons that light up that you don't have any idea what they do. But yeah, so let's go ahead and segue into the effects then, because like Marcia said, they do hold up. Were there any in particular you were thinking of? Because I know besides the alien suit and stuff, there was the space effects. The set were still,
That's what I still have to comment about. Is
Please.
despite how slow moving it is through the entire structure, it shows how big it is. It shows just what technology is expanded to at that point. At least as far as the travel and stuff like that goes through space. And I don't know. I think it's all beautiful.
Fair enough, Marcia.
Scary, but still.
I thought the set design wasn't the best. 'Cause
Really?
like you said, it didn't date itself a lot. I can see where they might have cut corners here and there, but it is the beginning of a franchise. So, it's just kind of like watching a pilot. You're not going to see all the great stuff until maybe later on.
Do you remember 1979 though? And this
No, I
movie was
know,
like the
maybe I'm
reaction to Star Wars, showing
Yeah.
that hey, that's not all furry, happy, whatever, civilized. There are much scarier monsters out in space. And
Absolutely.
This was like a reaction.
I guess all I can think about is the room with the lights with all the buttons. It just,
Yeah.
it just
With
hung
like
me
4
up.
monitors.
Yeah, I just can't stop thinking about that, and maybe it just overshadowed all the rest of it.
Well, what
but-
about? Well, then let's get into the creature effects, though, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
you said
I
that
enjoyed
was
the creatures.
genuinely scary to you.
Yeah, I thought the alien was awesome. I liked the effects with the android as well. He was pretty good.
Yeah, Ash.
But I didn't even know he was an android until it happened. What?
So when he got his block knocked off, it was a little
Slice him
surprising
and
for
dice
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the practical effects, again, you see that awkward cut when they're trying to set the fake head down.
Yeah,
And then
that
they
was
cut
so
to
awesome.
the real head, and you're like, oh, jeez.
I giggled when I saw that happen. I was like, real head, not real head, real head. Not real
Yeah, I
head.
can
Yeah.
forgive it.
I was
It's
like,
okay.
I know, I forgive it. I enjoyed it. I cackled.
People call it classic. It definitely is
Yeah.
classic, but
Yeah.
I-
Influential and
it just
all that
didn't
jazz.
outweigh, the few moments of coolness with the actual
Mm-hmm.
alien, the confrontations, just didn't outweigh the slog, in my opinion. It's not a bad movie, in my opinion, by any
No.
stretch. It's just not my favorite of the series by any stretch. In fact, I have a very controversial opinion about the way I arrange my Alien series. I put the third one above the first one, so
Ouch.
let those comments fly, guys.
Let the hate
I'm
fly.
ready to
Trollers,
take it.
get
I'm
this
ready to
guy
take
because
it.
he's totally wrong.
I don't know about all
I
that.
don't know. I enjoyed the third. I think each movie holds their own in a different way
True.
because they're all the same story, but they're all very different. It's like
Different in tone, despite certain ones
yeah,
having
I mean
similarities.
you have different directors, so it's gonna feel different anyways. But I like how each one is a different ship
Right.
So it's almost like you have a different captain steering your ship, directing you where to
Different
go.
crew to
So
dispose of.
I mean, I think they're all pretty interesting. There's some that I like better than others, but I don't know. I enjoyed the first one. I thought it was a good origin.
Fuego, any final comments about the premiere Alien?
I still love it. I think it is the anti-Star Wars, like I was just saying a moment ago, and it was showing how fearsome and frightening stuff in space could be. And yeah, it set the note for Cameron to world build further and improve upon everything.
Absolutely. And the way I watched it this time, you guys, to go ahead and finally get into that is, if you're into it, if you're into podcasts or commentaries, anything like that, or specifically any of the following comedians, the fellas of Super Ego, Mark McConville, Paul F. Tompkins, and Matt Gorley, did a commentary for Alien as Ridley Scott, the lead actor John Hurt, and the original Alien designer H.R. Giger. The commentary is hilarious. I highly recommend it. I got it off of the Howl app. Obviously, this isn't a paid advertisement. This is just something I recently discovered, and it happened to coincide with when we rewatched this movie, which I know by heart by this point. So I was basically watching with my earbuds in, stifling laughter the entire movie.
Very distracting.
Very distracting. I'm sure, and I apologize. Hashtag sorry not sorry, because it was worth it. It was hilarious. I highly recommend watching the movie with the Super Ego commentary. Check it out, you guys, because it made it worthwhile. And as I said earlier, I will probably no longer watch this movie without said commentary.
You've been tainted for life.
It's so much better.
Yeah, be forewarned, it's gonna change your overall opinion of the movie. Apparently, since you went from it's a good movie to like meh.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Maybe
Classic
not.
Alien fans will understand.
We watched his opinion.
Yeah, spiral down.
Plummet a little
Exactly.
bit. I always thought it was a little boring, but whatever. Let the fire begin, guys.
It is my technical number 2. Nothing tops Jimmy C's, but
For a newbie, I say it's a good opener. I think it's a good opener.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks very much for watching us review the very first in the Alien franchise, directed by Ridley Scott. I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias. I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And Marcia Parker.
And until next time, remember,
Stay
scared.
Scared.